Hello and welcome back to this tutorial on animating shapes. Hopefully in the last lesson you got a ball moving across the screen by animating it the hard way. And what do we mean by the hard way? Well, let's take a look at our code, and we can see here that we were basically executing these 4 lines of code over and over by typing them out again and again. So you can see here that we were clearing the screen with the background command, updating the position of the ball by setting the X variable or increasing the value of the X variable, drawing the circle, and then sleeping for a small amount of time. And we did this over and over and over and over again, and it got our ball moving across the screen. Now, whenever you see this kind of pattern where you're doing exactly the same code over and over and over again, think, oh, there must be a better way. And in programming, we do this using what's called a loop. And so let's move on to the next lesson, the animation loop. And if we look at the starter code for this and just run this, we see that we just draw a ball without any animation just once. So we do some setup, set the canvas size, set the fill color, set some variables, and then we just do this once actually. Clear the screen like we did in the last example, update the position of the ball, draw the ball, and then sleep. But here we only do it once, then the program ends, and that's why we just draw the ball, no animation. What we want to do though is repeat these 4 commands over and over, but without typing them again and again. And in PyAngelo, we can do that with what's called a forever command. So we type forever, and then we put a colon, the dot after it. So forever and the colon. Now, the forever command expects a block of code that it's going to repeat over and over and over again. And the way we signify that block of code is by having it underneath this forever and indented. So I hit the tab key, and now line 8 to 15 will be repeated over and over again. So it'll run these commands, come back up, run these commands. Let's see that in action. So here I start it, and there we have the ball coming across the screen. Yes! So cool. And notice that the ball's gone off the screen now, but the program's still running because this stop button is here. So the ball's just getting further and further off the screen. So I'm going to stop the program. And one thing to note is that when the program's running, if I run this again, up here I can't edit my code. So if you ever go up to your editor and can't enter the code for some reason, it's probably because it's locked because the program is running. So come down, hit the stop button, then you'll be able to edit your code. Now, I really want to drill home what's happening here, and I'm going to do that by running this program in debug mode. So let me click on run in debug mode, and I hit the start. And that runs the first command, which is the set canvas size. And then step into sets the fill. Now I set the variable X to -1. Then speed X gets the value 1. And then delay seconds gets the value 0.005. Now we're into the forever loop. So I step into it. We draw the background a purple or magenta color. There it is. And now we update the X variable by increasing it by speed X. So it'll go from -1 up 1 to 0. So it now gets the value 0. Then I draw the circle. There's the circle at 0, because that's what X is, and 180 with a radius of 20. And then I sleep for a small amount of time. Now notice what happened. The code jumped back up to this forever loop. So if I step into it, I'm back in the forever loop. So I do the background command, clears the screen. So notice the circle is now gone. I update the position of X, it goes to 1 now. I draw the circle in its new position at 1, 180, that's the center of the circle. Then I sleep. Now I go back up to the top forever, and I clear the screen with the background command, the ball goes away. Update X by 1, so X becomes 2. Draw the circle, and then sleep. And I continue on in this fashion, and that way the ball keeps moving 1 to the right every time through this loop, which is great. So I'm going to get rid of debug mode, stop and start, and the ball goes all the way across the screen. Now, well, I stopped the program, but if I let it go, remember, it's running forever. This never stops. And so another important thing to note about this is it never stops. So if I actually were to write another command down here, say set the background to black, And notice here, this is not indented. So because it's not indented, it's not part of this forever loop. So the lines here, lines 8 through to 15, are going to be repeated forever. And the background command, because it's not indented, is not part of that loop. And so the program's never going to get to it. And again, if I run this in debug mode, you'll see that as I go through, step through these lines, we get to the forever loop, it comes down, after the sleep it jumps back to the forever. Keeps going, after the sleep jumps back to the forever. And there's no way to get to that command because it's not indented. If I wanted it to be part of that, let me just stop this debugging. If I wanted the background to be part of the loop, I would have to use the tab key to tab it in and have it the same level of indentation as the forever command. But that's not what I want to do. I don't want anything there. And remember, Python's very specific about what becomes this block of code that's going to be repeated forever. If I have this background command and then I add a space to this X here, it's at a different level of indentation. So I'm going to get an error. And if I run this now, you'll see that my error is bad input on line 11. I go to line 11 and I can see, yeah, there's an extra space there. So Python's thinking I should be finding commands that are indented the same level to leap forever. And if I don't, then I expect them to be back at the start of the line because that's the next sort of command I would move to. So make sure that when you're using these loops that you have the same level of indentation, because that's what determines what is going to be repeated forever. Awesome, cool. So your task here now is, now that I've fixed that up, is to maybe, instead of getting the ball just moving straight across the screen, can you get it to start down the bottom here and maybe move across and up? And a little hint here, the way we got it to move across was we were using this X and speed X variables. So if you wanted to move across and up, you may need a Y and a speed Y variable. So pause the video and have a go at that now, and then I'll show you how I might tackle that problem. Cool, all right, I'm assuming you've had a go at that. So like I said, we're going to need a Y variable and a speed Y. So I'm going to also set Y. Oh, my program's still running. I can't edit the screen, so stop it. Now I can edit it. I'm going to need also up the top here a Y equals -1, and I'm going to get a speed Y, and I could call these whatever I wanted, remember, but it makes sense to give these meaningful names so that when I look at them I can understand what's happening in the code. And I'm going to make this go, well, let's just try the same. Let's go 1 at the moment. So it's going to go across 1 and up 1. Now, what I need to do is update the position of the circle. So where I do this X equals X plus speed X, I can also do Y equals Y plus speed Y. And then instead of drawing it at X and 180, I draw it X and whatever's stored in the value Y. And now I think that should work. Let's have a look. Yeah, look at that. And notice, whoops, I'm going to stop this. The ball is going up, across 1 and up 1, so it's going diagonally up. I could actually change that. Maybe I don't want speed Y to be 1, but like 0.5, so I'll go across 1 and only up half a step. So now it's going to go more to the right. Yeah, very cool. So lots of stuff you could experiment here with. So have a go and see what you can do. Maybe you could actually try drawing a nice background first and then drawing the ball moving across. And what I mean by nice background is like a house or something. But anyway, you have a play around and come back in the next video where what I want to do is think about how we can make that ball respawn, because as you saw, when the ball goes across and off the screen, it just disappears and we don't see it again. So we're going to use what's called a conditional statement or an if statement to check once the ball's gone off the screen, let's bring it back to the start. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.